All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about something that's, well, kind of the secret sauce behind a lot of modern tech: heuristic search. You know that feeling, right? You're scrolling through a streaming service and there are just too many choices. Or you're trying to pick a restaurant for dinner, or even just figuring out the best way to drive across town in traffic. It's that classic paralysis by analysis. Well, guess what? Computers deal with that same problem, like every single second. But for them, it's not just a few dinner options. We're talking about billions, maybe even trillions of possibilities they have to sift through just to find one answer. It's a whole other level. So, how on earth do they manage that? I mean, think about it like this. You're standing at the entrance of a maze that's so huge, it might as well be infinite. You could try every single path one by one, but you'd probably be there forever. And that, right there, is the massive challenge AI is up against. And this leads us to two totally different ways of tackling that maze. First up, you've got the brute force approach. This is the slow and steady method. It literally checks every single path. It's guaranteed to find the best answer, eventually, but man, is it slow. Then you have heuristic search. This is like having a magic compass that always points you in the general direction of the exit. It's a guided, educated guess. It's way, way faster, even if it doesn't always find the absolute 100% perfect route. Okay, so let's get into that magic compass. How in the world does an AI make an educated guess? This is where things get really cool, because it's all about working smarter, not harder. The secret weapon here is something called a heuristic function. Now that sounds technical, but just think of it as the AI's intuition. It's a rule of thumb, a special little formula that gives the AI a quick estimate of how close any given choice is to the final goal. It's what lets the search focus only on the paths that look the most promising, instead of wasting time on dead ends. And you can see the whole process right here. It's pretty logical, actually. You start at the beginning, your initial state, but then, and this is the key part, the AI doesn't just move randomly. It uses that heuristic function we just talked about to evaluate its next possible moves. It picks the one that looks best. Then it takes that step, and it does the whole thing over again. It keeps going step by step, always checking. Am I there yet? If not, it just repeats the loop, always guided by that smart rule of thumb. Okay, so here's where it gets even more interesting. There isn't just one way to do this. Heuristic search isn't a single tool. It's more like a whole toolkit, or maybe even a team of specialized problem solvers, each with its own unique strategy for getting through that maze. So let's meet the team. First, you have A-star search. Think of A-star as the careful planner. It balances how far it's already traveled with how far it thinks it still has to go. Super smart, but it can use up a lot of memory. Then you've got greedy best first search. This one's impatient. It always jumps to whatever looks closest to the finish line right now, which is fast, but sometimes it misses a much better, slightly longer path. And then there's hill climbing. This one's the eternal optimist. It only ever takes steps that move it toward a better state. The problem, it can get stuck on a small hill thinking it's reached the highest mountain, completely missing the real peak right next door. And finally, you have simulated annealing, the clever risk taker. This one's wild. It will sometimes make a bad move on purpose, just to see if it can jolt itself out of one of those traps and find a better solution overall. Now, I know this all sounds pretty abstract, right? Algorithms with names like A-star and hill climbing. But the truth is, you're using this stuff probably every single day without even realizing it. This isn't just theory. It's the engine running so much of our world. Ever wonder how your GPS finds the fastest route, weaving through traffic? Yep, that's heuristic search, probably A-star. Or when you're playing a video game and the AI opponents seem to be thinking? That's heuristics. It's in the complex schedules for airlines. It's how robots navigate a factory floor. It's even in how your phone's digital assistant figures out what you're saying. All of these things are using heuristic search to find good enough answers to ridiculously complex problems, and to do it in the blink of an eye. And really, it all boils down to this one simple, powerful idea. Like the source material says, by prioritizing the most promising paths, heuristics significantly reduce the number of possibilities that need to be explored. It's not about looking everywhere, it's about looking in the right places. But, as always, there's a catch. There's no such thing as a free lunch, right? This incredible speed comes at a price. There's a fundamental trade-off baked right into the heart of how all of this works. And that trade-off is right here: efficiency versus optimality. See, heuristic search is designed to find a good solution quickly, and a lot of the time, that's way more valuable than finding the absolute 100% perfect solution, but really, really slowly. I mean, for a lot of real world problems, a good enough answer right now is a whole lot better than a perfect answer next week. And that's where you see the limitations. For starters, the whole thing lives or dies by the quality of that heuristic function. If you have a bad rule of thumb, you're going to get bad results. Simple as that. Some of these algorithms, like our friend A-star, can also be real memory hogs. And maybe most importantly, you can't just dream up a good heuristic. It often takes a ton of specialized expert knowledge about the specific problem you're trying to solve. So that leaves us with a really interesting question for the future. As AI gets more and more powerful with insane amounts of processing power and new ways of learning, are we still going to need these clever human-designed rules of thumb? Or will they just become a quaint relic of how AI used to work? It's definitely something to think about.